Okay, wrong button.
And we are live with the Gamer Lobby, courtesy of VGHC, Video Gaming Hardcore. Same group as last week, and we're here to talk, or I should say, bitch, about the PS3. 4, excuse me.
Yeah, get it right.
Sorry, I'm. In some cases, I don't know what the difference is.
Well, see, we haven't seen the actual box yet, so for all we know, it could be a PS3.
This is true. No actual visuals on the PS4. Although maybe we should do the QuickTime events first, considering it'll be the much lesser topic.
I think we kind of went over that with the boss fights, but yeah, let's go bitch about QuickTime events some more because you can never stop bitching about those. To be honest.
Death to the QuickTime event.
Yeah, fuck 'em.
I can't believe like I was gonna go ahead and rent Sly 4 because I thought maybe I'd buy it because it's cheap, and then I thought about maybe renting it, and then I saw through Rev3 Games I saw Adam Sessler's review of it, and he didn't give it a good review. But it really isn't that. Like, I would have probably tried it anyway. But then he told me that, he didn't ruin the boss fight, but it's just this huge, dragged-out QuickTime event. And how are you going to have these epic boss fights to just end with a QuickTime event? Halo 4 did it. Bulletstorm did it. Sly 4 does it.
Uncharted.
Big gunfight going into QuickTime event. These people need to stop being lazy. Like, seriously,
I think the reason why they rely on QuickTime events is because they want to do certain things. Like for example, in Halo 4, they don't want you just to keep shooting him and shooting him and shooting him. They want it to feel a little bit more personal. You're getting up in the guy's face. Problem is, it doesn't feel personal. It just doesn't feel personal when you do that. Like, I'm replaying Crysis 2 right now, and there's a point in Crysis 2 where you get flung out of the top of this alien spire, and and I'm playing it on the PC, so I'm falling. I'm sliding down like whatever the hell it is, like a piece of the road, and it tells me press left mouse button to grab. It's like, okay, I grab it, but then it's like, okay, now you have to crawl. Press W, press right mouse button, press left mouse button, press W, press space, and it's like, okay, is it bringing me in? Is it bringing me in a little bit more? You're actually doing something, yes, but at the same time, it's like I'm pressing one goddamn button, and in the case of Crysis, just for fun, I even didn't press one of them and nothing happened. I just stayed there. In Halo 4, at least you die.
Yeah.
What was it? Battle.
Like in Nathan's case, where you literally press no button or don't do anything, and you manage to fail the QuickTime event.
Wasn't it the Battlefield 3? There was some QuickTime event in there where you could where it was like press this button to save this person or press this button to not die or whatever, and you could just stand there, and the game would just sit there waiting for you to press the button. You're supposed to be in a hostile war zone, and you're supposed to be moving as fast as you can.
I think it was Battlefield
and you can
3.
just stand there like, well, I don't want to press right now.
It's like I said, you kind of have to understand why they use them, but I think what it really is they're overused now. It's almost like a shortcut. We don't feel like being more creative and come up with something new. QuickTime event.
They want to have they're suffering from Hollywood syndrome. They want to have this big epic scene, this big epic action scene, but your character within the gameplay is incapable of performing these actions they want you to do. So they make a pre-rendered cinematic and let you press buttons to make you think you're actually doing something.
Right. You're trading cinematic for fun. I'd much rather have fun than have it be a cinematic sequence where I keep pressing whatever it tells me to press. Because, Halo 2 had the fight with Tartarus at the end. That was not a QuickTime event. It was not cinematic whatsoever. But I would take that over Halo 4 any day, because at least that was fun.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually liked the QuickTime events in Tomb Raider Underworld, because they actually did something interesting. And whenever there was a big dramatic moment or something, and when something would suddenly happen, it would slow the game down, and then you had to react to whatever was happening. So, like, you're walking out onto this ledge on these ancient ruins, and all of a sudden the thing starts collapsing beneath you and falling. Well, in any other game, you go, oh, press X to throw your grapple and do the thing. Where in this, it would slow the game down, and you have, the heartbeat going, whatever. And then you still had full control of Lara. So then you just had to get off that platform as fast as you could while the camera was doing all that cinematic stuff and the game was slowly moving. And then whenever you did the action that would save yourself, it would resume to normal speed and it would fall down and big dramatic moment thing. But there was no press this button not to die. It was just, oh, dramatic moment, do something quick or you'll die.
Yeah. And the thing is, when it comes to different, it also depends on the type of game. You look at like a first-person shooter, though, like Calvin said, Halo 2 was a good example. But there's only so much that you can do when it comes to a first-person shooter. In something like a third-person shooter,
Resistance.
All right, again, well, Victor, it just goes to my point, just pure laziness. When you have something like a third-person shooter, and like I'll use for example, what was it? Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 had tons of QuickTime events. They all sucked. They were terrible. They were annoying as hell, and it just seemed really, really stupid. But it would have been nice if you still had those QuickTime events. But instead of doing cinematic, press a button, cinematic, press a button, cinematic, press a button, actually keep it all in real gameplay. You still have to press the buttons at a certain time, but you would actually still be shooting, you'd still be controlling the shooting, you'd still be kind of moving, you'd still have some movement ability. Though then again, in the case of Resident Evil 5, you couldn't shoot and move at the same time, so...
Who does that?
Well, Capcom, evidently, because they're fucking stupid. It's just, there are things that you can do, to get away from these QuickTime, these QuickTimes, and also it goes back to what we talked about last week. Just stop making shitty boss battles. It's like we talked about Devil May Cry. The final boss in Devil May Cry is one of the easiest ones in the game because you know exactly what to do. Oh look, there's his fist. Jump out of the way. Oh look, there's his fist. Jump out of the way. Okay, one more time. It's Mario. I'm done.
Except for the fact that, see, you're talking about Mundus.
Yeah.
That's not the final boss.
Oh, all right. That is true. That is true. There is another final boss. Spoilers. And that was actually a real badass boss fight, and he's an asshole. But yeah, Mundus was a joke. I mean, there were enemies in the regular game that were harder than him.
That's actually pretty damn accurate.
And that's when it's sad. When you have regular enemies in your game, or even levels in your game, like for example, like you look at the first-person shooters like Call of Duty. There are levels in Call of Duty that are insanely tough, but when you get to the end of the game and you have to kill the boss bad guy, oh, we're gonna slow it down to super slow motion, and you just
do the same thing in every game. Actually, QuickTime events would actually make those more interesting. Especially if you feel like you're doing something. Because it's literally the same scene in each of the games. It's quite
see, I think we figured out that first-person shooters are what killed the boss battle. Because it's in a military first-person shooter, you can't really have a boss battle because... What are they going to do, throw a giant robot or mutant into it, or what?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, but military shooters, they're very different, too, because they don't have boss battles. you know, a military shooter is not really supposed to have a boss battle. Then they put in just the stupid bullet time things at the end
Well,
that are just annoying.
If you look at the past Call of Duties, like Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3, their boss battle was a one last enemy charge, and you gotta take down like 100 guys in a short time before they destroy you. That, even though that's not technically a boss battle, it was challenging like a boss battle, and it's a lot more fun than aiming a gun in slow motion.
Yeah, exactly.
The only way aiming a gun in slow motion is fun is if you're body surfing through the air across several desks trying to pot shot a couple guys with pistols.
Max Payne for the win.
I was just gonna say that.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of like Calvin said. You know, the older Call of Duties. I still remember Call of Duty 2, which probably is still my favorite Call of Duty. There were a couple moments in that yeah, you were alone, you were on top of a building or like behind you know, you were in one of the trenches or that, and you had a couple hundred guys just rushing you. Now they were all none of them was a boss, but it was tough to stand there and try and stay alive through all that. Constantly getting grenades tossed at you, you got to throw them back, and you know, and then like Call of Duty, the newer ones. I mean, hell, some of the newer ones you can go through veteran and not even have too much of a trouble in them. You may have some issues here and there, but compared to the old ones. But then you have other shooters like, for example, Crysis, which Crysis is still kind of a military shooter, but the sci-fi aspect allows it to have bosses, and you have the really big alien mechs and things like that that are really, really tough to beat and require, you know, actually using the skills of your suit and various things to, you know, to overcome it. But a boss battle isn't necessarily always, you know, a boss. It can be just a challenge, like Call of Duty and going up against all the people, like Myst and having to figure out what piece goes where. You know, it just needs to be something challenging.
A boss needs to be a thing that challenges you and puts to the test all the skills you have learned thus far. Whether it's an enemy, a level, a wave of enemies, something.
Exactly. Something
to prove that you've been paying attention for the past several levels and know what you're doing.
And a quick time event is not that. A quick time event is seeing how fast you can press the keys. It's Mavis Beacon.
Simon Says.
Yeah, it's Simon Says. Even better. That's really all it is. That's not challenging.
All that being said,
should we move on to the invisible elephant in the room?
Yes, the invisible elephant. That's a good description. I like that.
Since we don't actually know what this elephant looks like.
Well, before we get into that, how about the news that Microsoft might now be announcing the Xbox in April instead of E3?
Not surprising.
They want to answer back, so, you know, by all means, let them do it.
Are we going to be able to see the Xbox?
You know, it's gonna be interesting. You know, like Microsoft even made, or was it Major Nelson who made the comment saying, you know, very interesting launching a console without actually showing us the console.
But they haven't launched the console, and this was just a pre-announcement thing. It wasn't a big flashy hardware. That's E3. Yeah. E3 is when you get all the ladies up on the podium dancing around, and you have this big monolith coming up from the floor with all the smoke and mirrors, and that's E3.
Yeah, I do think it was very strange for them to do this event and not have a console there. Nintendo obviously did the same with the Wii U, but you know, it definitely was a little strange.
The Wii U people got to kind of see the console. They just sort of got this.
True. They did have it there. They
just didn't say, "Oh look, it's." They just, "Oh look, here's the Wii U," and I was like, "Oh, here's the gamepad."
Yeah,
oh yeah, that's.
I love
how this is how they displayed their graphics. Like hey, look, this is a taste of the PS4. Look at some old man. And his
He had
facial
beautiful eyes.
You know, a lot of people gave them crap for that, but to be completely honest, you know, it was a good show of graphics because it looked real.
It is.
I don't know. That old guy was still in Uncanny Valley for me. He was still firmly residing in that trench.
Oh man.
But you know, it definitely was it definitely is a little strange. It definitely is a little strange to have not seen it. But they did have, you know, but the fact that they came out the next day and said, you know, flat out, the reason why we didn't have it is because we're not finished designing it yet. I don't think that puts them in bad light or anything like that. You know, it's just simple. They're not finished with the final hardware.
They
You know,
they want to make that thing as tiny as possible. What
Yeah.
with the Ouya's and the Roku's and the Apple TVs and game sticks and all this other stuff, consoles that are about this big, they want to make that thing not be a bread box.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
I mean, obviously, it's not going to be super small. It's not going to be the size of Ouya. It's not going to be the size of a Roku.
Ouya,
you know?
damn it.
Ouya.
What? How's it pronounced?
It's Ouya, like booyah, except without the B.
Ouya. Okay, Ouya. It's not going to be that small. The hardware that's in it, it's not going to be that small. It's definitely going to be a smaller. It's definitely going to be a smaller device. I'd say it could possibly be on the size of maybe the first Wii.
Maybe
But
the
it's a
graphics,
size.
the graphics card, the hard drive, and the Blu-ray drive. Those are going to be the big things that's going to determine the size.
Yeah. But also keep in mind that, you know, they're not using the 14-inch long video card that we put in our, you know, PCs. They're using one that AMD is going to customize just for this console. Same with the Xbox and, you know, and that. So, you know, and unfortunately that's also it's why you can't upgrade these things, because everything's built onto this one giant board and it's very different.
Except maybe
And
the hard
regular.
drive. I'm curious if they're going to go the PS3 route and let you swap out the hard drive, because that is really nice.
Well, I think it'd be stupid not to let you swap out the hard drive, because I've already had 2 Xbox 360 hard drives fail on me.
Well,
Really?
or you just run out of room. I have like a 160 gig in my PS3, and I'm constantly running out of room. And one of these days, I'm going to buy another hard drive and put a bigger one to put in there, because with downloading full PS3 games, especially with their PS Plus, where you get all the free games, 160 gigs gets eaten up quite fast.
I hear you, man. I want to get a terabyte for the PS4 so I can transfer all of my freaking PSN games. Oh, wait! I can't do that!
No, sorry, Victor. They're being open to the developers and letting them develop on a familiar x86 architecture, which means it's completely incompatible with the cell-based programs.
It also translates to they can kiss my white ass.
Oh,
like,
you know, the PSN thing. All right, now here's the thing about this: the PlayStation 3 games is understandable. They were coded for that system. All right, PlayStation 3 retail games is understandable. Those should not work because they just simply can't. But Sony is, they kept talking about streaming. There is no reason why they shouldn't be able to stream PS3 content to the PS4, and if you already bought it, it will
On
just
PSN.
automatically know.
I think if you own a retail disc of a PS3 game, you're gonna be out of luck. If you have a PSN version of a PS3 game, they're gonna let you play that.
Yeah,
But also keep in mind that Sony has said basically flat out that as of right now, there is no plan for that.
Well, they said that they don't have anything right now, but they want to be able to stream it, which I think if they do realize their pie in the sky, puppies and kittens, rainbows and unicorns of being able to stream all the content to the PS4, I think it's going to be like the PSP and the Vita. If you
PS3 games on demand.
If you bought retail, you're out of luck. If you bought digital, here you go. We'll let you stream it.
Yeah.
Because you could, it's the same with the Vita. You could go to your GameStop or your video game rental place that don't exist anymore, but you could just go to your friends, borrow all his discs, put them in a thing, and say, I want all these games now. And they would have a hard time verifying that those games are actually yours and not someone else's, where the digital download ones are all tied to your account. So
Yeah.
they'd have no problem letting you stream those.
Yeah, you know, and it really is, though, a big fuck you to PS3 owners. And
Well, the
you know,
PS3 was kind
I
of
know
that.
Victor knows this because we talked about it way back when the PS3 was first announced. And I don't know if he remembers, but I said, you know, the graphics may be better, but this cell processor is going to come back to bite Sony in the ass. And it has. It's
it
been so
did
blatantly obvious over
hard.
the past year. All the Skyrim DLC not working. Massive issues on
That
Skyrim.
had the Skyrim DLC had more to do with the RAM management, though.
True.
From what I heard, not necessarily that the processor couldn't do it, is that the way the PS3 handled RAM, it couldn't cache and buffer the massive amount of content you were loading.
True. But now you have this situation where all PS3 content is completely incompatible with the PS4 for one main reason, the processor. But on the bright side, you know, there is the streaming, which if Sony doesn't take advantage of, they're just really just screwing their fans even more.
Well, they bought Gaikai. They have to be taking advantage of it.
Well, you know, it's pretty obvious they're going to take advantage of it for PS4 games and for the future, but they need to take advantage of it for the past. They need to say, hey, all of you that bought PS3 and, you know, and did this up, we're going to be nice to you, and we are going to let you have all your games.
All of you who bought
you're only able to stream them, but have them.
all of you who bought PS3 games through the PSN store, all of you who went and bought used and retail copies, forget you.
Yeah, retail. There's nothing they're going to be able to do about retail. It's the same as like the PlayStation Vita and what they did with the PSP games. There's just nothing really they can do for retail, and it does kind of suck. As far as the hard drive goes on the PS4, I do not think it's going to be removable. And specifically because the official specs say built-in hard drive. And they also didn't announce a size yet either. So when I read that built-in, that makes me think internal, like a laptop. You know, like an
Laptop
Ultrabook or
hard
something
drives
that you're not going to be able to remove.
You can replace laptop hard drives.
You can,
MacBook
but
hard
you do not
drives.
have to take them apart.
Well, you still have to take the PS3 apart to replace its hard drive. It's not like the Xbox where you just snap a little button and it pops off.
True. I don't know. It definitely, when I read built-in hard drive, my first thought was that it won't be removable.
Oh, and
And
and the new PS3 Slim apparently has an easier to remove hard drive.
Slim. The Ultra Slim? Is that what you call it?
Slim.
Slim does sound funny.
Well, you know, I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I really do hope that I'm wrong about this. Because a non-removable hard drive definitely kind of sucks. And especially for something like the PS4, which we already know is going to support 4K video, it definitely would be a good thing to have a removable hard drive and one that you can then transfer your content to and get a bigger one. And also, hopefully, they won't be... I find it a little shocking that they did not announce the size. but I'm kind of assuming that that's probably because they haven't decided whether they're going to go with a standard hard drive or an SSD.
No, they said HDD.
That's true. It did say HDD, so I guess it will be a normal one.
Or they're ashamed of it.
Yeah, hard disk drive. Yeah. Well, no. If it's a regular drive, it shouldn't be any less than 500 gigs. Because by the end of the year, a 500 gig hard drive will be what, $50?
500 gigs is pretty much standard.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see anything less than 500 gig in the new consoles. I remember actually reading about a year ago that Microsoft was actually planning on releasing a 500 gig for the 360, but then decided against it because the 320 that they released wasn't selling too much. So what's the point of making the 500? But I do think that the new consoles will come with 500 off the bat. So let's see here. But you know, spec-wise, it's not a bad system. I know a lot of people were bitching about it, saying, "Oh, my PC is better than that." Yeah, your PC is better than that. Your PC is also probably 7 times the size.
And twice as expensive.
Yeah.
At least.
You know, I hear people saying, "Oh, it only has an 8-core." I have a dual core in my computer, and I can play Skyrim on high settings. So shut up.
I had a quad-core Athlon without an L3 cache, and I could play Skyrim on high settings.
Nice.
So,
But, you know, I mean, let's go over the specs here. You got a single chip. They call it an x86 64, which I'm a little confused about, but it says AMD Jaguar 8-core. Now, Jaguar processors are 64-bit. So I'm assuming that the operating system is 64-bit, but they're saying it's x86. I guess they're basing everything on x86 architecture, so everything will work.
that's the confusing thing, is x86 refers to the program even if it's running, even if it's 64-bit, it's still an x86 architecture.
Yeah, they need to fire whoever wrote up these specs and whoever told them how to say it. But the Jaguar processor is a 64-bit processor, an 8-core. That's perfectly fine. GPU 184 teraflops, next generation Radeon-based graphics engine. It's a little disappointing that we don't know what graphics card it's based off of.
Yeah, it just says next generation, which both AMD and NVIDIA have kind of come to a standstill as far as graphics over the past year.
As far as next generation go, it's probably just going to be the best of what's available right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have definitely been nice to know what it's based on so we could kind of get an idea. Let's see, we have the 8GB GDDR5 memory.
Which that's going to be nice.
People are saying, "Oh, how come it doesn't have 16?" It doesn't need 16.
Yeah.
It does not need 16 gig. You're not going to be running Steam, Skyrim, World of Warcraft, Photoshop, Firefox.
World of Warcraft, damn it!
Time.
I don't want it anymore. I can't play World of Warcraft.
8 GB is more than enough for dedicated gaming.
I mean, even the most intensive games on the PC, Crysis, Battlefield 3, Skyrim, GTA 4, at their most, probably don't even get near using 4 GB of RAM.
No, Skyrim, they had to patch in later to use 4 GB of RAM, and it's still...
That's true.
Whether it actually uses that 4 gig is debatable, but...
Yeah, Skyrim basically tops out at 2. And if you're like me, you had to modify your system files to get it to stop crashing.
And this is why I don't PC game.
This is why PC gaming is
Victor,
awesome.
keep in mind, I'm still running 32-bit processor, or 32-bit operating system, only 4 gig of RAM. Skyrim's minimum requirements wanted 4 gigabytes of RAM in a 64-bit operating system.
Because if you're running 32-bit operating system, you're just living in the past. I've been running the same operating system since 7 came out, okay?
I know I need to upgrade. It's happening in a couple months. I'm going up to a 6 or 8 core processor, going up to 8 gig of RAM, getting Windows 8 4-bit. So I'm upgrading. Don't worry. But my issues with Skyrim were simply just because of the fact that I was on a 32-bit operating system. That really is the exact reason for my issues, and I shouldn't be at this point. So. But, like I said, 8 gig is more than enough. The games will be fine on about 4 gig of RAM. And one thing I did think that was really cool is that you can pause the game, leave, and go to another part of the operating system, and then go back to the game, and it picks off perfectly. And that's what that 8 gig is for, and that's really nice.
That means we won't have to wait for our downloads to finish downloading before we can actually use it for something.
Oh yeah, that right there is awesome. If Microsoft doesn't have that on the next Xbox, I'll be pissed off. The ability to say, okay, I want to buy this game, I bought it, and now I can instantly play it. I don't have to wait for this shit to download. That is awesome.
I like how they're talking about all this instant stuff that you can do, like, oh, you won't have to wait for load times or anything like that.
I would just be happy if I can start a download and go play something else while my other game is downloading.
Yes.
That's
gets so annoying.
That's right. PS3 doesn't let you do that.
No, it's like I'm downloading this 16 gigabyte game. Oh, I'm gonna go play another game while I'm waiting. 2 hours later, oh, it was paused.
360 doesn't let you do that either.
No, you can.
It's
Some.
Right.
Some games you can.
Sometimes it lets you do it. Sometimes it doesn't.
Well, all right. The one requirement is you can download anything on Xbox Live and you can continue to play a game. However, you cannot play that game in multiplayer. You have to be in single player.
Right.
And if you're in a game like say Borderlands, Grand Theft Auto, or a few other games that are kind of have like an always on. Like, they're always connected to multiplayer one way or another. Like, in Borderlands, you can be playing single player, but you press start and you see what all your friends are doing. So as far as the Xbox is concerned, you're on multiplayer.
Right.
So it shuts off the download, even though you're playing single player.
Yep.
Bitches.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be going away anytime soon on the Xbox, but hopefully when we download something, we'll at least be able to play it instantly. I would also like to be able to play the game while I'm installing it to the hard drive, so I don't have to wait like 10 minutes for it to install and then press play. But that's a little bit difficult because it's a little bit difficult for it to be burnt, copied off the disk and to play the disk at the same time. But hopefully these new machines will be powerful enough to do that.
Well, my biggest feature that I would like in a new machine like a PS4 or next Xbox would be reliability. I would like my launch machine to not have a 50% fail rate. That would be very
only
nice.
50?
That.
I've gone through 3 Xboxes.
I've heard
That's
people
3
go
more
through
than I should
8.
have.
Xbox is so awesome. Hail red rings.
Alright, well, let's see here. I've had one red ring. Thank you, Beatles Rock Band.
I had one pre-red ring. It was thinking about red ringing on me, so I went to the store and swapped it out. I beat it to the
Victor,
punch.
I think you got red ring from Rock Band too.
Rock Band 2, yep.
Yeah.
Rock Band 4.
Yeah, I bring Rock Band too.
Says don't red
I
ring.
bring Rock Band over. I bring Rock Band over to Victor's house, and a week later he gets red ringed. I get Beatles Rock Band. A week later, I get red ringed. I put it in Carolyn's console. A week later, she gets red ringed.
Wait, so I'm noticing a pattern here.
Yes. Rock Band 4 needs to come out with a patch to not get red ringed.
Put it this way, this is what I'll say, the new Xbox will come out, there will be no hardware failures, Rock Band 4 will come out, everyone's console will die. It is the curse. The Harmonix curse.
No, Dance Central 4 with Connect 2.0.
There we go, Dance Central.
Dance Central 4 is going to be what kills it.
If Rock Band is the death of consoles, or it'll be the death of the 360, 720, whatever the hell it's gonna be called. So then, what happens if you put it in the Wii U? Will it like just blow up?
No, the Wii U can't handle the graphics of Rock Band.
It'll just refuse to play it.
Oh, hilarious statement, but probably true.
You know, I only had one console Red Ring, but however, my replacement, about I think 6 months before the new console came out, before the Slim one came out, I started getting the pretty colors and gears again. I was like, okay, it's starting to die. All you have to do is wait until GameStop lets me trade you in. And traded it into GameStop, got my money off of the Slim. Whoever bought that, feel bad for you.
It's their problem.
Carol, I know you and Victor, you and Carolyn were pissed because I actually got a new console when mine died, and you guys both got refurbished ones. I got a brand new one.
That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Well, Microsoft knows that I bought all the Zunes, so they felt bad for me.
Long live the Zune.
Oh man.
Alright, well, back to the PS4.
Yeah, back to hardware that hasn't failed yet.
So
How about that DualShock 4?
DualShock 4. It has a screen now.
I believe it's a touchpad.
It's a touch pad. It doesn't actually display anything per se. But I'm
Just gives you
actually
something
kind of
more.
excited about the controller because it looks like it's not bent out as far. So I might actually be able to hold it.
I think it's a nice controller. As I've said, I prefer the analog stick layout on the Xbox.
Well, so do I.
But I do like that these new analog sticks. I like that they have the textures. They have the little concave instead of just being the dome. I like that. Overall I do like the controller. I kind of like the layout of what they did. The one thing that did catch my eye that I know a lot of people haven't really been talking about, but start and select are gone.
I know what.
Well, go ahead.
How do I pause my game if I don't have a start button?
And that's the biggest one. There's no start button.
Well, I'm assuming that pause would be the PlayStation button, which would bring up the.
No, that's
PlayStation
the
Guide or
options
I
button
want my
now.
start button.
I don't think it has a PlayStation button anymore. It just has an options button.
No, it has the little PlayStation logo? Isn't that a button?
Maybe it's a touch button now.
Oh, and I just realized this.
I'm looking up the picture of it now because I could have sworn that was a button.
I think Nintendo was the first one to get rid of the start select buttons.
Really now.
There's
Yeah, I
no
think you're probably
there's no
right
start
about
and
that.
select buttons
Yeah,
on
that-
this.
Yeah, if you look up the picture, that definitely looks like a button.
The Wii Remote had plus and minus. The GameCube had start. So Nintendo invented the start and select buttons, ditched the select button.
Boy, how about that? I didn't even really think of that.
Oh yeah, because the N64, it only had a start button. It was like the Nintendo and Super Nintendo had start and select.
Yeah, see, hold on. What sense does that make? Because the Wiimote, like you just showed, has no start and select, right? Like it's just the pluses or whatever.
All right, well, hold on. Well, let's be honest
Here's
here.
a classic controller, okay? Here's a plus and a minus, but it also has start and select, right there. Start and select still on it.
All right, look. Nintendo has no logic. We can move on from them. I mean, it's just simple as that. But as for the DualShock 4, you know, getting rid of the start and select is very interesting. I mean, the share button was cool. You know, definitely the things you can do for that, and the option button. I don't know what the hell the option button's supposed to be.
I think the option button is supposed to be a combination of the start and select button. That's what it seems like the option button is.
So option button's going to be start and select, and then the PlayStation button is the PlayStation guide as it is in the PS3. I guess that makes sense, but it's like, you know, I think of games like I think of a game like Battlefield 3. In Battlefield 3, in order to spot an enemy, you use the back button on the PlayStation 3 or the select button on the PS3. Now, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, how the hell is Battlefield 4 going to work with spotting enemies on the PlayStation 4? There is no select button. And unless developers are given the option to use the option button as a control, I really have to wonder what the hell they're gonna do.
They're gonna use the touchpad. There's gonna be a little illumination something on there because the touchpad can be clicked. It's a little touchpad, and apparently you can click it as well.
Hey, there's your mouse.
Yeah.
Shut up, Victor. It's not a mouse.
Your mouse, click it.
I actually like that. That would actually be kind of cool. Like if I wanted to spot somebody, I touch the left side of the touchpad.
Can you pinch to
I press
zoom?
the right side of the touchpad.
Can you pinch to zoom your sniper?
And like,
Yeah, that would actually be kind of cool. Like fine aiming and something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
And not have to hold up a big controller up to your TV and go the.
All in all, though, I really like the DualShock 4. One thing I do like about it is that the overall kind of feel of it. Obviously, no, we haven't touched it, but it seems like it'll be a lot more comfortable. The grips seem to be much more contoured to your hand versus the previous controllers. It definitely looks like it'll be more comfortable.
Not like this stupid thing. The stupid thing where they have them pointed the handles are almost pointed out at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah. Like I said, the analog sticks definitely I think are a lot nicer. I still prefer the other layout, but these ones at least don't seem to. I don't think they'll be as annoying to use. And it seems like it's wider too. I know somebody told me that I'm wrong, but I don't know. It seems wider to me.
The handles are straighter like the Xbox.
Yeah.
They're not angled outward, which is the main reason why. That plus the fact that the right stick is over closer to your thumb is the reason I can actually use a 360 controller and not a PS3 controller.
Yeah. Look, when the 360, gets rid of the whole turn to the right syndrome, then I'll believe that.
To the left, Victor. To the left.
Whichever. It gets stuck somewhere.
I got 3 controllers that do it.
It gets stuck somewhere eventually, and that's the problem. And the thing is that I was with John when he bought a controller out of the box from Best Buy. And what does it do? And he's not even touching anything.
Somebody jerked it too much at the factory.
And then put it in the box afterwards?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Alright, factory workers are jerking it.
One other thing I would like to say, though, is the triggers. The R1, R2, R3, R4, whatever the fuck they're called.
Where's that coming from?
What?
What do you do for R4? Is
I don't
that
know.
the clicking?
What is it again? It's
Is that the clicking? Is that what R4 is?
Yeah.
R3 is the right stick click, or the left stick click. R4 is the
So alright, so it's R1, R2, L1, L2. Okay, that's what it is.
And then L3, R3 for the sticks being pushed in.
So, right off the bat, I do have to say, coming from someone who absolutely hated the PlayStation 3 controller, I do think that these buttons are better than the PlayStation 3, from what I'm seeing.
Indeed.
However, the trigger still... They just copy Microsoft, please, for the love of God.
No, if you want to copy someone's triggers, copy this.
There you go.
This has the ultimate triggers. You can
Why do
press
you
it.
have so many controllers on hand?
You can press it,
the Xbox
and it
controller,
clicks.
On the Xbox controller, you see the trigger. The trigger comes out. It's not flat. It doesn't bend back. It comes out like a real trigger. I mean, you can hold onto this. You can touch that trigger with any of your fingers, and you can hold it down. But then you go look at the DualShock 3, and it was the dumbest fucking design ever made in the history of a trigger. Now, the DualShock 4 is very similar to that design, but it does slightly curve out at the bottom. I still do think that if you don't use your index finger, your finger's probably gonna slip off it a lot, like the DualShock 3. But it definitely looks to be a vast improvement over the 3. But I would have loved if they just copied Microsoft and made just honest-to-God real triggers.
No, they need to make GameCube triggers.
Or, yeah, there
See,
you go.
it's curved to your finger, it presses down a little bit, and then if you want to do something different, it clicks. It actually clicks.
That's nice. That's definitely nice. But all in all, coming from someone who absolutely hates the DualShock 3, as Victor, Victor knows this very well because there's games that I've refused to play on the PS3 just because of it. But I'm very excited for the DualShock 4. I'm actually very excited about it, and I look at this and I'm like, I actually think I can use this controller.
Yeah, I won't have to buy one of these
about
things.
The DualShock 3.
I won't have to buy one of these things for it. This is how I play my PS3. I have to buy third-party controllers that look like an Xbox.
Yeah. I almost did that 100 times, and then I sold it.
Look at one of those converter things that allow you to use the same controller on.
I've looked for those.
So let's get back on track. The specs. Let's see. We did the main processor, the memory, hard drive built in.
Go to games. How about that?
Let's finish it over. We have the Blu-ray DVD drive. I know some people really were saying this console is going to go all digital. Well, you're a moron if you thought that. Was going to have a Blu-ray drive, even though it's not compatible with PS3 games. PS4 games still need to be sold at retail. They're still going to be Blu-ray. Movies are Blu-ray. They need to have a Blu-ray drive.
Broadband isn't ready for all digital.
No, absolutely not. USB 3.0. Not really surprising, but definitely nice to see them include that. That was something that they didn't really have to include, but it was nice to see them do it.
Maybe they did USB 3.0 so that they could make the hard drive non-replaceable, and you can put in your own USB 3.0 hard drive.
Definitely a possibility.
Because you could actually do some decent gaming with a USB 3.0 external hard drive.
Do USB 3.0 and an SSD? Hell yeah.
you just put all your games on the external hard drive.
Yeah, to hell with the internal hard drive. The internal hard drive is for porn. I'll put my games on the SSD. Let's see. Ethernet, IA, Bluetooth 2.1, a little bit older, but it doesn't really need any newer version of Bluetooth.
Also, no Wi-Fi AC, which some people commented as odd.
Huh? Yeah.
It's just BGN, no AC.
They may regret that in the future.
Yeah, because with streaming games and whatever, I mean, N is pretty fast. But if they're really going the whole streaming route, they'll probably sell an adapter.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, who are we kidding here? They'll sell an adapter like Microsoft did for the longest time.
AV output, you have HDMI, analog, digital, the normal stuff. Now, here's something I'm going to toss out to everybody. We all know that the current generation of consoles never came with HDMI cables.
Nope.
PS3 didn't even give you HD. The Xbox at least gave you a component, but then when the Slim came out, they didn't even bother giving you a component.
You only got a component cable when you got the... well, no, the 360 never came with a component cable.
The
Yeah,
no, yes it did. The Pro did.
I had the Elite. It didn't come with a component cable.
they got cheap
did.
after a while and gave you only composites.
That's,
I guess, yeah. You know, it must just depend on when you got yours, because I know my console came with a component, but it was not the Elite one. It was a gray. It wasn't a black cable.
When I
yeah.
got my stealth box, it had the regular composite cables instead of the component cables.
No, Victor. All of the stealth boxes came with composite, not component.
Oh, did they? They cheaped out
Yeah.
completely on the new ones?
Yeah, that's why when I traded mine in, I actually switched the cable so I could keep my component, and I gave them the composite that came with the new Xbox.
Wow.
Sneaky.
You're just as bad as the GameStop employees. Genuinely trying to screw over people. I guess that's why you got a job there. You already knew how to screw over people.
I don't really consider that screwing over somebody, because it was a brand new cable. You know, it was right out of the box of the new one.
It was a
my
brand
Xbox.
new standard crappy definition cable.
Exactly. It'll just screw you. You know, whoever gets this.
Well, fuck them.
Have standard. cable.
You won't be able to notice it for long because eventually they'll just die on you.
All right. So anyway, thoughts? Do you
Now,
guys
if
think?
no fanboy gets that same system, then it's okay.
So anyway, thoughts here. Do you think that the next consoles will include an HDMI cable and
I think-
or component?
The Wii U comes with an HDMI cable.
I think it'd be stupid not to include an HDMI cable.
I kind of think they're gonna have to, because I mean, well, the PS3 is already throwing in the headset. So
Ooh, throw in a headset.
why not throw in the HDMI cable? Because HDMI cables are cheap. If
Maybe
you,
the PS3 headset won't be a piece of crap like the 360 one.
No, if they're including it for free, you can bet your ass it'll be pretty terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, is it gonna be worse than the Xbox One?
No.
I don't
Is that
necessarily know
possible?
if that's possible. Actually, it is possible. Go on Amazon and do a search for Xbox headset, and you'll find the official one, but then you'll find all the aftermarket ones, and there are a few aftermarket ones that have worse reviews than the official one.
that's pretty bad.
Yes, it is.
Pretty bad.
So Calvin, you don't think Sony will include the HDMI cable?
I said they'd be stupid not to.
Oh, okay. Victor, you think the same?
Look, the Wii U comes with one, so if the other ones don't come with one,
Yeah.
it's gonna look really bad.
I can just see this happening. The PS4 comes out, only comes with a component cable. Nintendo's new ad. You don't have to buy an extra cable for our system.
I mean,
My friends, except our games aren't actually in HD.
Yeah, I like that. It's all like, yeah, friggin' the new Mario game's gonna be in 1080p. Oh wait, that was an error. It's actually only gonna be in 720.
No, Tokitori 2 is gonna be in 1080p, but Super Mario Brothers U only 720.
There was something on there. Somebody corrected that, actually. They
What?
went back and corrected that. You know, it's not supposed to be on there. It was like an error on the box or something like that.
You know, speaking of 1080 and 720p, in my opinion, one big thing about this next generation.
Native 1080.
Well, I just say
Better.
that not a single game should be played in 720p on the PS4 or next Xbox. If there is a game that can only render at 720p on these new consoles, you have a fucking problem.
You're doing it wrong.
I mean, it's understandable on the Xbox and the PS3. It's very understandable. But on these new systems, I mean, I look at these specs for the PS3 right now, and these specs, they're very on par with basically what I'm upgrading my computer to this year. You watch these tech demos, you look at the Killzone demo, that's on par with some of the best graphics available on the PC today. Now, obviously, the PC can get higher resolutions, but the PC is playing on monitors that are capable of higher resolutions. TVs, with a few exceptions, are only capable of 1080. So every game needs to be running at 1080. Streaming is, streaming, that's internet connection and other issues there. But if I buy any physical game or any game off PSN and download it, it better be running at 1080.
I agree completely.
You cannot play something like this in 720p. You just don't
can't.
do that. Yeah, that defeats the whole purpose of the console. Of the whole advancement of what they're trying to do with the console. That would defeat the whole purpose.
Yeah, it really would.
So as cool as all the tech stuff is, let's get down to it. Let's get down to why we purchased a console. What games are we excited about for the PS4?
Infamous Second Son.
That.
And the fact that I can use my Vita with it too.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I was like wowed by it, but I'm like, this is actually pretty interesting. Maybe I should actually go back and play Infamous 2 at some point.
I haven't finished
It
Infamous 1.
definitely looks interesting.
That and Watch Dogs, but I kind of want to play Watch Dogs on the PC though.
The thing about Watch Dogs, it's being made by Ubisoft, so first of all, you can probably kiss mod support, goodbye.
Yeah.
But and assuming that the gameplay that we saw was on the PS4.
No, it was on a PC.
Like I said,
it was a
I'm
custom.
assuming. I don't think it was.
No, they said at some point that it was a custom PC that was running it.
What, at the Sony conference?
It was sometime after somebody mentioned that it wasn't actually running on a PS4. It was the same when they did it at E3 last year. It was running on a custom PC. It wasn't running on any console.
So to date, we have not seen what this game will look like on the consoles. And, in a game like this, we always say that graphics aren't everything, and that's true. But look at this game, man. It's fucking beautiful.
It is, no lie. It really is.
And it's gonna be interesting to see what it looks like on the PS3.
Yeah, but it's like I watched the clips and I've watched this thing now like a dozen times.
I mean, look at his trench coat.
Yeah,
I haven't seen fabric physics like that since Batman Dark Tomorrow.
No, there've been a couple games. There's been a couple of games that have come close, but
I just remember Dark Tomorrow. His cape was just all doing the thing everywhere.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption actually had really good cloth effects if you wore one of the dusters, the trench coats. But I look at this and I'm like, wow, this it just looks amazing. And and it's like you can't help but compare it to Grand Theft Auto because they're both big open world games.
Some people have called it Hack-Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I look at Watch Dogs and it does kind of seem like a combination of like Tron, Assassin's Creed, and Grand Theft Auto. It has the running around and it has it has the parkour like Assassin's Creed. It has the open world of GTA, and then the hacking. All the hacking kind of reminds me a little bit of the Tron 2.0 game where you had to hack into different systems.
Yeah.
Like
Also, apparently, I read about this. I don't know if you can see this, but apparently there's going to be like some social hacking. Because if you can see the little red reticle around the camera on the screenshot here, that is a camera being hacked, not by the player.
Yeah, I saw that, but I wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah, they were interviewing the guy, and he's like, no, that wasn't the player, that was someone else.
Yeah, I think they did mention, I think they actually did mention that there was going to be some multiplayer component to the game.
Where people could, it's sort of like, I hate to say it, but mind jack, where you can hack other people's games.
That'd be pretty cool. But I mean, just this game, it just looks so impressive, and yeah, I love this part right here. You know, this version right here because you know, he sees this woman being assaulted, and you know, and the game tells you like, hey, you know, you should intervene. And I think that's pretty cool. Like one of my favorite new shows on television is
Person of interest.
Yeah, person of interest. Thank you, whoever said it, because I couldn't remember the name. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, this is you know, they're taking parts. You know, they're kind of taking parts from Person of Interest, and that's kind of awesome. And you know, it's like I said last week too. Watch Dogs is one of those games that this game has the capability of being Game of the Year and being one of the best new IPs in a long time. And I say it has the capability to be. And hopefully it will be. But, you know, there's been a lot of other very, you know, games that we've thought were great, and then they came out and...
On the plus side, all of the demos we've been having have actually been live demos of gameplay and not just flashy trailers.
Yeah.
So it has that going for it.
Yeah, and the one advantage that this has going for it over, say, like Borderlands or Mirror's Edge, or even like, even in some respects, the Tomb Raider reboot, or better yet, like LA Noire. You know, in all those games, there wasn't a huge community that became like insanely excited right off the bat. I mean, you can't go anywhere on the internet to a gaming site and not see people just geeking out about this game.
No. It's the ultimate geek dream.
I think this game is going to have a similar reaction as to what people's reactions were to Dishonored, if not better.
I think this will actually do a lot better than Dishonored.
Dishonored was more of a cult hit.
Yeah.
It wasn't a smashing success. I mean, they said it did do quite well, but it wasn't like an over-the-top billion-dollar seller kind of thing.
Well, yeah, I think it goes without saying that Watch Dogs, because of the type of game it is going to have a lot more like replay value out of it. And the core game itself is going to be longer. Because Dishonored, that was one of my knocks on Dishonored. Like, it's good and everything, but it's a pretty short game. Especially, I could only imagine, like, it was short for me, and I suck at it. So if you don't suck, you know, it'd be a pretty short game, like maybe 6 hours.
Yeah, and when I was watching all the previews and demos and stuff of Dishonored, I was really expecting an open world game, like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, same here.
I was kind of surprised at how linear it was. I mean, the levels are fairly open. You know, you can kind of sneak around and do your own thing in the level. But I was expecting to have a huge sprawling world and get like a mission where that guy on the way opposite end of the city, you have to go kill him. So go do it, kind of thing. I wasn't expected just, this guy needs to be killed. Plop you right in his front stoop. Okay, now go kill him.
You know, length is definitely one thing that I'm a little worried about when it comes to this game. You know, it's an open world game, which
it's got to be long.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely needs to be long. But the thing is, I'm hoping it's like that it's GTA style long. I mean, I want like an average playthrough, taking my time, you know, learning everything, experiencing everything the game has. I want that to take me like 20 to 40 hours, like as long as a GTA game.
I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, if it didn't, that'd be pretty disappointing.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, we haven't seen much of the story here, but at least in this second clip, we got to see one of these little I'm assuming like randomized side missions that can just occur. At least I'm assuming that's what it is, and that's awesome. That brings replay value, and replay value is everything now.
Yeah, if they can do the Skyrim thing of having the procedurally generated quests or events,
yeah,
that happen, if they could sort of take that to the next level, That would just explode the replay value.
Calvin, you've been quiet for a while. Got anything to say?
Well, I think the Skyrim point is dead on. Radiant quests and random events in a game like this would be perfect if they could pull it off just a little better than Skyrim, you know. With Skyrim, the Radiant quests, you do one Radiant quest, well, one type of Radiant quest, and you've done every one of that type, really. It doesn't change much. If they could just make it, take it to the next level, make it so even types have subtypes, or, you know, give something to make everything feel unique, like by taking advantage of the open world and the random civilians and everything. I think they could really give this game great longevity if they just, you know, put enough randomness into it to keep you surprised hours and hours into the game.
Well, you know, in what we saw today, we saw basically either an attempted murder, attempted rape in that video, and there are a lot of different crimes. So, you know, basically, if they just, you know, obviously, you know, if they put, I'd say, maybe like 10 to 15 different variations of like 10 to 15 different crimes, attempted rape, attempted murder, Grand Theft Auto, holding up a store, bank robbery, you know, armed robbery, home invasion, you know, just various different things. And also, I don't know if anybody knows, but when he stops that pedestrian, there's actually a little reputation bar that pops up in the upper right-hand corner, and you see that he adds blue positive reputation.
Like Infamous.
Infamous.
So, you know, I see that, and it kind of tells me, it's like, well, you know, if you're a good guy and you prevent these crimes, then that means that you go on the positive. But it also tells me that you could probably partake in these crimes. You know, you can probably go into like a jewelry store and hold it up, and you'll get a lot of negative points, but you'll probably make some money out of it or something.
If you're successful.
Yeah, if you're successful.
You know, this is crazy random, and I just thought of this now. Since we talked about both Infamous and now we're talking about Watch Dogs, maybe this next generation will take us away from the, like, everything must be a shooter phase, and...
I so hope that's true.
Maybe now we're going for the open world things and what people can do, because there's a lot more you could come up with for these kind of games.
More single-player games, please.
I'd like to see that. I mean...
I think we all would.
We're just tossing now, you know, multiplayer into games that shouldn't have multiplayer.
Dead Space, BioShock.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Less multiplayer.
Can they work? Sure.
Good.
Will they be there? Probably not. I don't see the point of multiplayer in Uncharted. Is it bad? No. Do I really play the game for that? Absolutely not.
I'll toss out Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, Mass Effect 3, but I've heard that's pretty good, though.
But that's the thing, you know, Mass Effect 3 has good multiplayer. It does. But you have to go back and wonder, what did they have to do in order to make multiplayer happen? You know, and you look at, from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2, there was a really long development cycle. From Mass Effect 2 to Mass Effect 3, it was much shorter. Then you look at the ending, and you look at all the cut content and things like that. And we know there was cut content because of the leaked script and the leaked game that came out. You look at that, and you know, I can't help but think that if multiplayer wasn't forced into Mass Effect 3, maybe it would have been a much better single-player game.
We wouldn't have had to have the change the ending petition, and maybe it would have had a better ending.
Now, you know, honestly, we've talked about it before. You know,
let's not get started on this.
I'm not going to get started on it. I'm going to say one thing. There were many people that were assholes about the Mass Effect 3 ending, and they know who they are, and they're probably the same people that signed that petition to President Obama to have DMC removed from shelves.
Because that somehow infringes on my right as a consumer to choose by reducing my options.
How dare they ruin my franchise? Well, guess what? Go on a fan fiction site, and there's probably fan fictions of Dante and Virgil humping each other's brains out. Does that ruin your franchise?
Wow.
Does 50 Shades of Grey ruin Twilight?
It doesn't
Well,
need 50 Shades of Grey.
I mean,
Twilight
are we
is.
trying to I don't know how to respond to that because Twilight just sucks.
Twilight doesn't need anything to ruin it.
You know, but it's like, well, Pokemon, for example, Rule 34 in Pokemon is some of the most disgusting shit you'll ever see in your life.
Yay, tentacle rape.
But like, you know, does it ruin Pokemon? No. You know,
Ruined my childhood memories.
Pokemon ruins Pokemon. They have an ice cream cone. Just saying.
no, I'll take the ice cream cone over the trash bag.
That's true. There's also Trubbish.
Well, there's also a fetus. I can't remember the Pokemon's name.
And there's a balloon.
Pokemon is sad.
There's a heart.
Fucking love fish. Oh god, love this.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm getting to is, you know, when you look at
the Valentine Pokemon.
when you look at the things that gamers are complaining about, you know, the ending to Mass Effect 3, and remember there were two different complaints about the ending to Mass Effect 3.
He mentioned one thing. Now he's saying more.
All right,
This is
let
gonna
me
be-
make this quick. I'm looking at the clock. Within 3 minutes, I'll be done. All right.
Oh, God.
There were two main people that were complaining about Mass Effect 3. First, you had the people that were just complaining because they didn't live happily ever after and have their blue babies with Yara. Fuck those people. If you really want to have your happily ever after fantasy, go read or write fan fiction. The other people were people like me. And what we were upset about was the fact that everything we had put into the game throughout 1 and 2 and 3, all of our choices at the end of the game did not mean anything.
2 minutes.
I said 3. It's
All right, 2 minutes.
9:46. I got 2 minutes left.
Get the chatting.
So, and I'm pretty sure you were on the same side as me, Calvin, there, and the fact that what we were upset about was the fact that our choices at the end didn't really make any difference and didn't really matter. And in addition to that, the ending itself was just very poorly done. It was just very poorly done compared to the leaked ending and to the other things that were being referenced throughout Mass Effect 2. And if you're part of that second group, you have a very those are legitimate reasons to be upset about that game, and even the developers acknowledged some of them. If you're part of that first group, you're as bad as the douchebags that want to ban DMC.
1 minute.
You know, nothing's gonna be perfect. Whether it's Mass Effect, whether it's Pokemon, whether whatever it is.
Assassin's Creed.
There are always gonna be issues, you know, in various games. You know, Witcher 3 is a good example. Witcher 3 is coming out, and one of the things that CD Projekt has been saying is that you'll be able to play Witcher 3 even if you never played the first 2 games.
Which I haven't.
And that means that the intro is going to go over, the intro to the game is going to have a whole, this is what happened before, and various choices that you made, you know, may not necessarily mean as much in the third game. And you can bet your ass, there are going to be fans of The Witcher who have been playing since the first who are going to be a little bit upset. But the thing is that if you do a good of a job with the rest of your game, then people won't really mind. Now, in the case of Devil May Cry, the people were bitching and bitching and bitching, and they refused to even give the game a chance. Then you have people like me who bitched about it, but we gave the game a chance, and now we realize it's amazing. And in the case of Mass Effect, it didn't really matter anything. In the case of Mass Effect, the developer screwed up, and it also just proves that, you know, I think that, you know, I think the developers kind of needed to take these, you know, to take these risks and also kind of screw up in the case of BioWare, because it's showing developers now, it's showing shut up, Victor. It's showing developers in the future that you need to listen to your fans. Do not screw up your fans. Do not screw over your user base. You have to listen to us because we can and will destroy you.
Okay, I have one thing to add real quick. To all the viewers, we will be discussing the Mass Effect 3 ending at every TGL.
Somehow, some way.
It's just one of those
Alright.
things that's never gonna go away.
All right, Calvin. You know, this is what we're gonna do though. Next, Calvin, one of these weeks, you and me, and whoever else wants to join, we will just have an all-out on the Mass Effect 3 ending. It's on YouTube. It's public. We'll get it out there.
Well, we talked about this. It would definitely have to be you, Calvin. I see if I can get, Sean in here, because he'd be a good one for that, and, like, 2 other people that are, like, really into Mass Effect. I'd definitely get this going, because that can definitely fill up an episode.
Actually, I do have to say though that we should wait until this final DLC is out, because this final DLC, actually evidently going to fix one of my biggest issues with the game. They in the short description released, they mentioned that it's, aside from the main storyline, you get to buy your own apartment on the Citadel, and you get to invite all of your previous crew members there, and you get to rekindle past romances. And one of the biggest complaints that people had with Mass Effect 3 was that, depending on who you romanced, you really got screwed in Mass Effect 3. And I think
Interesting.
and I think that this DLC is another way of course, you have to pay $15 for it, but I think this DLC is kind of BioWare saying, yeah, we're sorry that we didn't let you see Miranda's ass more, so here you go. And they should apologize for that.
They should. Ass Effect.
Alright, so let's see here. Well, Watch Dogs is amazing. Watch Dogs better be amazing. I hope this game comes out and wins Game of the Year.
2 years in a
So
row.
hopefully it's good enough to win Game of the Year.
Game of the year and game of the
Because
decade.
it's Ubisoft, I'm definitely a little worried, but hopefully they won't fuck it up.
Well, see, Ubisoft made Far Cry 3. They also made Assassin's Creed 3. Yeah.
So,
Ubisoft, it's... We'll just have to wait and see. We will just have to wait and see. But I definitely can say that whether I'm buying it for the PC, the PlayStation 4, or the next Xbox,
Or the
one way or
PS3,
another,
or the Wii U.
I will have Watch Dogs.
Well, you can get it on the PS3, the Wii U, the PC, the PS4. I think the 360 maybe?
Did they confirm the current gen consoles?
I know they confirmed PS3, and I'm pretty sure they confirmed Wii U. They didn't confirm the Wii though. I don't think it's coming out on the Wii.
No, it won't. It won't come out on the way.
So Calvin, you talked about Watch Dogs. Would that be your pick for a game?
Yeah, Watch Dogs is my most anticipated PS4 title.
Gotcha.
I think one thing we can absolutely be sure about is that just the amount of excitement for this game around the internet. I honestly can't think of the last time I've seen a new property and people being this excited about it. It's been a long time that there's been this much excitement for a new game.
Dishonored came close.
Yeah.
The excitement around Dishonored before it launched was pretty good. Afterward, it was a little more subdued.
Actually, you know what? I'm actually going to say BioShock. I think BioShock would be the last game that people were this excited for.
Which was 5-6 years ago.
Yeah. Because like Borderlands didn't really there was a lot of excitement around bloggers and developers, but that was it. The general public wasn't really too excited for that. But then once word of mouth started going around about how good it was, then it's like Borderlands. I think its second or third month sales were better than its first month.
Also, Borderlands is reportedly what is responsible for Aliens Colonial Marines sucking so bad.
I guess we're gonna talk about that now, huh?
Um,
Yeah.
You know, I really want to defend. I really want to defend Gearbox, but
You're gonna lose.
like that.
Yeah.
what if all this information is true? Gearbox really did some fucked up shit. I mean, it's as simple as that. If it's true, they did some fucked up shit. I would like to believe that it's not true, but it probably is.
At least half true.
They did a good job on Borderlands 2. Aliens ended up sucking. I never expected that game to be good. I didn't expect it to be as bad as it is.
It's the Aliens Colonial Marine suffers from Duke Nukem Forever syndrome.
Yep.
Yeah. But I also do think it's definitely safe to say that I don't think Gearbox will ever be doing another one of these, let's fix somebody else's work.
They're not going to be doing any more rescues. They've been banned from the Humane Society and Animal Shelter.
I applaud them for the effort, but it just the games just suck.
Yeah. And, like I said, as long as they keep making good with Borderlands, I'll at least be happy with them.
So there's one game that hasn't been mentioned by anybody, and I think this could make a topic in itself.
Diablo?
Exactly.
It's
Diablo.
gonna suck ass. It does suck ass. Let's move on to Killzone.
Move on to something else that sucks ass.
Yeah, it does suck ass, but goddamn, those graphics look good.
They are. I'm not gonna lie. Those are some damn good graphics.
Killzone Shadowfail.
But really though, I mean, D3, it's disappointed or not, whatever. You have this collaboration between Blizzard and Sony when their quest to take over the world. I want to know what's going to come of that.
You know what I think? I think Runic Games should port Torchlight with full mod support to the PS4 on day one.
Torchlight 2 on PS4.
With full mod support, launch day. Diablo 3 won't sell a single copy.
You know what would be interesting, and this is again another random thing that I just came up with.
Torchlight 1 was on Xbox.
Yeah.
And hold that thought because I'm actually going there with this. Because they have the partnership, so they can have the PS4 on the they can have D3 on the PS4, and they can have Torchlight 2 on the Xbox 720. So you got the battle between because
The hell with it. I'd rather have it the other way around. I
Yes.
want my mods. Microsoft won't let me mod.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
is that? I mean, but half the team would be on one side, and the other half of the team would be on the other side. It'd be awesome.
But you know what I do like? The concept of being able to play Diablo 3 on a PlayStation Vita.
I do like that. And like I said, if D3 did not basically, just to make it short, the first really short version of the story disappoint me, I'd have been sold on just that alone. If this was way back when and it was D2, I'd go find a way to get it right now. It'd be awesome.
But that actually is going back to the specs a little bit. The fact that it runs the same architecture as a normal computer means that basically any PC game could be made to work on the PlayStation 4. Obviously, there need to be changes.
Unreal Tournament, PS4, do it.
Obviously, there would have to be changes, but basically every PC game could run. Now, it remains to be seen if Sony is going to be a dick, or if they'll, let's use it, or if they'll pass the Minecraft test. And I think that could really be the killer thing for Sony. If Sony allows, indie games, homebrew games to be made for their console and released on their store by regular developers.
Which
then
it sounds like they will.
it does sound like they will. And I really hope they do. And, you know, I can tell you, if they do things like that, you know, now, I love my PC. I really do. But I'm not going to lie. If Sony did that and Microsoft didn't, I'd be much more leaning towards getting a PS4 than the Xbox, than the next Xbox.
I think we need to just take this clip of the episode and like copy and paste it to like multiple places, because this is never gonna happen again.
No, like I said before the show started, you know, I am very impressed by the PlayStation 4. There are a lot of things that Sony is doing wrong in regards to like PSN and things like that, except because I never really owned a PS3. I did, but I never really played it. You know, none of that really affects me. So the way I look at this is that for someone like me who would be basically new to PlayStation, I'm very much intrigued by this console. And the concept of being able to play my stuff on the Vita too, that's pretty awesome. I would love to be able to, you know, be playing a game in my room, and say, let's say, all right, Patriots game's going to be on. I'm watching the game, I go and now I'm playing my PlayStation 4 game on my Vita while I'm watching the football game. That's pretty awesome. I love that. So, I look at the PlayStation 4, and for me, there's a lot of things there that I really like that I don't think Microsoft will do. And like I said, it also goes to, the Minecraft test. And we'll see what happens. One thing that Jack Turnin, American president of Sony, said is that games will be priced anywhere from 99 cents to $60.
Free to play to 99 cents to $60.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure. Also free to play. So, and that tells me right there that they're definitely going to embrace mobile games like Angry Birds and other things like that for the small price points. But that also tells me that if they're smart, they will, they'll follow Google's and Apple's, they'll follow Google and Apple's model with the store and allow anyone to put up a game. Now, I do think that they're going to need a lot more oversight than Apple and Google, because they don't want like 50 million fart apps or 20 different versions of the same Tetris game or the same solitaire game.
Well, why not?
Well, see,
But-
they've actually been experimenting with this with PS Mobile.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple of games on PS Mobile that they've definitely been sort of experimenting with this hands-off approach to letting people develop for their platform. And I mean, PS Mobile is relatively small, so it hasn't really taken off, or I don't know what their internal thinking is, how much of a success it's been, but there's definitely some decent games on PS Mobile, but there's also some that I would barely classify as a game. It's basically the equivalent of a fart app.
But, like I was saying, especially since it's based off PC architecture, there is, as long as Sony gives developers the means to do it, there's no reason why games like Minecraft, FTL, Star Command, and all these other games couldn't be there on day one. As long as Sony is intelligent and gives these developers the ability to do it.
Also, with it being an x86 architecture, what are they doing to keep it from getting hacked and modded and homebrewed and whatnot? Because
Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of encryption in it. I'm sure that the operating system will be very locked out. It's like even like with Android phones. If that bootloader is locked until somebody figures out a way to crack that, you're not doing anything to that phone.
PS4 launch day, Anonymous strikes again.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Games-wise, you know, there weren't really a lot of games that were shown off. A lot of it was tech demos, but I don't think that was really surprising. I think E3 we're going to see games.
Killzone was supposedly a live demo.
It looked live.
They said it was live and they uploaded it to the cloud, so unless that was all a pre-rendered thing. But they said
that looked live to me.
Yeah, they said they
that
uploaded
racing
it.
game looked pretty impressive.
That was a tech demo.
Yeah, it definitely was a tech demo, but it did look impressive though, and I definitely liked the of it, making your own auto club and things like that. It definitely seems
Also,
very
why
cool.
is it not called Gran Turismo?
Well, because it's not Gran Turismo. It's
I like
different.
Gran Turismo.
Because people are bored with Gran Turismo, so they didn't want to, give it the same name.
Well, no, it's Gran Turismo is, just racing. This is a lot more than that, so I think they were right to give it another name. Kind of like with Forza Horizon. Forza Horizon was so much different than the previous games that it was so much different from the previous games that they created an entire new brand for it just under the Forza name.
Wasn't called Forza Motorsport anymore.
Well, you still do have Forza. You have Forza, I think the last one was 4.
Yep, Forza Motorsport 4.
And I'm pretty sure 5, they're working on 5 for the next Xbox. But at the same time, they're also working on most likely a sequel to Forza Horizon for the next Xbox. Because they are two very different games, whereas Forza itself is purely simulation, Horizon is more of a arcade simulation, and has the open world aspect of it as well. And I love Forza Horizon. I hated all the previous Forza games, but Forza Horizon I loved.
My favorite part of Forza 4 was driving a Bugatti Veyron at top speed around an oval track. That thing goes fast.
How fast do you get it?
Well over several hundred miles per hour.
I think you mean kilometers per hour there.
I thought it was miles per hour, but I don't know. It was as fast as like an F1 car or faster.
Max speed on it is 278 miles per hour, I believe.
I don't remember exactly, but I think I was, especially on the straightaways, I was closing in on 300. I was getting close to 300 on that Bugatti Veyron.
Well, that is of course a stock. That is of course stock one if it's modified or tuned a little bit, and it also could have been the. It depends on which version, because there are a few different versions of the Veyron, and a couple of them are faster.
This was the fast version.
But let's see. The tech demos. The tech demos were very impressive. Unfortunately, it wasn't gameplay. I know when Square Enix came out, and I mentioned this. I mentioned this in the group. Square Enix came out and says, "We have a tech demo to show you."
The exact
same one. Watch it be Final Fantasy VII again.
No, they just showed us the exact same thing they showed us last year at E3.
Yeah. But how funny would that have been, though, if they did Final Fantasy VII again?
I'd have to kill a few people, I think.
Literally do the exact same tech demo from the PlayStation 3, just on PlayStation 4 graphics. If they did that, you shouldn't do this, but I was streaming it on my phone as I was driving home. I had it in my car dock, and I was watching the stream as I was driving home. I had the sound going through Bluetooth in my car. But I mean, as soon as they said tech demo, I just started laughing, and I had to slow down like 20 miles an hour just so I didn't crash into anything. But I'm thinking to myself, it's like, please be Final Fantasy VII, please be. I might get into an accident out of laughing, but it'll be worth it. But then they didn't, and Final Fantasy VII Remake's never happening, but God, I want them to just keep fucking with people with it.
Neither is the 10 remake, or Versus 13, or,
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy X HD is coming to the Vita.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything about 10-2, though.
Basically, anything fans actually care about isn't coming out.
So why didn't they announce Final Fantasy X-2?
like I said, anything fans actually care about. It's
Kingdom Hearts 2.9875.
Uh,
Square Enix. That's a whole other episode right there. Oh.
I still haven't played Kingdom Hearts. I'm kind of waiting for the HD trilogy, if that ever comes out. But you know.
Yeah, good luck with
How's
that.
there a trilogy? They never released Kingdom Hearts 3.
No, it's Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 1.5, and Kingdom Hearts something.
Kingdom Hearts 358/2 days or whatever the hell that is, and
It's not real math.
Dream Drop Distance, and all these other stupid random titles with numbers, and no one freaking cares.
The sad thing is, when I had a GameCube, I wanted a PS2 so bad because I saw a Disney
We're rich,
game.
and we're not going to make any good games. That was my impression of Square Enix, man.
Very
So
accurate.
how about the no drop price for the Vita? Why? They should have dropped it. I'm just saying.
This is my response. My ass. Kiss it, you fucking assholes. I mean, come on. I mean, no price drop for that. Are they serious?
They're pretty serious.
It's because of the
The
exchange.
Vita desperately needs a price drop in the United States.
The Vita
Yeah,
needs something.
Yeah, something. And a price drop would help.
What is even? I forget. What the hell is it currently at? Like 350.
250.
Oh,
250 for the Wi-Fi version, and that usually comes with a game and maybe a memory card.
Right, the non-garbage version. How much is that one?
The non-garbage version? Well, you
Talking
can...
about the 3G one?
Why would you want the 3G one?
The 3G one is the garbage one, not 300.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right then.
It's like over 300 for the 3G version, and you have to have a contract and a data plan and all that stuff.
Also, you can browse on the go because you can't play multiplayer games on the go. It's 3G.
Yeah, buy 3G. Make AT&T money.
No, that's the reason I won't buy it.
No, you want the Wi-Fi one,
Gotcha.
which
And
is
you're gonna
only...
have to wait 8 months for Black Friday.
Yes, when you can get it for like $189 with Assassin's Creed 3, a 4 GB memory card,
Telling
3
you,
months of
I called
PlayStation
Nathan
Plus, and Sony Smash Brothers.
Yeah, he did. He called me up and said, I don't know if I should do it.
No, I mean, I said flat out, like, if I had the money, I would have done it. There would have been no question about it.
I had to get a loan.
I had the money and I almost did it, but then I decided against it. But, you know, I do think that the Vita will get a price drop when the PS4 launches.
No, they'll just throw it in for free.
That's nice, too.
Yeah, if it costs $1,000.
No, I think Sony would be really, really, really smart to release a bundle. Now, obviously, we do not know how much the PlayStation 4 is going to cost, but assuming that the PlayStation 4 costs, let's say, $400.
Not gonna happen.
No, I think it's a possibility. Do I think it'll happen? Probably not, but I think it's a possibility. But let's say it costs $400. I think that for $550, they should sell one that bundles the Vita.
They're going to do it. It's going to be the same price as launch PS3. We already talked about this. It's going to be $200 with the $400 console, so you can make it $600. So it'd be still like getting a PS3 on launch day.
Well, the reason why I say $550 is because I think that the Vita will get a price drop down to $200 by the end of the year. So then you bundle it, you save $50.
They have to drop it, so they at least need to have it at $199, so they can say it is under $200. They just drop it to $199.
Ideally, I'd say drop it down to $150, but I don't know if they can afford to do that this year.
Yeah. See, the problem is it's such a nice piece of kit. It's amazing.
But it's the thing is, you have the DS, you have the 3DS, 3DS sales have been good, but they haven't been great.
3DS is a
However,
crap screen.
Pokemon's coming out. They need the price drop.
Yes, that is.
you
Once
know,
Pokemon comes out, people are going to be like, what Vita?
once Pokemon comes out, the sound you will hear all across the world. I mean, it's you know the joke. The joke it just prints money. Why? Pokemon.
That is the only thing keeping Nintendo solvent right now.
Yeah, Pokemon is out. The last time I read, the DS Pokemon games have been outselling the Wii Mario games by like a 2-to-1 margin.
Because it's Mario.
I think that speaks for itself and the quality of Mario games lately.
Yeah, because it's Mario.
Yeah, but Victor, what improvements have there been in Pokemon?
0.
The same that there are in Mario.
but meanwhile, every new Pokemon game sets a sales record in Japan and in the United States.
Well, I mean, there's that much more nothing you can play with in Pokemon. I mean, there's what'll the total be now? Now there's like 700 creatures of nothing, of no change or anything, and might look like other random objects. Like here, let's look around the room. Is there a book, Pokemon? Maybe that will exist.
How about a bunk bed? Is there a bunk bed Pokemon?
A bunk bed?
Oh God!
You know, but maybe like a knife, or how about this Jägermeister bottle here? Maybe we can make that a Pokemon. A hat.
The Pokemon franchise just saddens me.
Yeah.
And yet, it's addicting.
That I still don't understand.
It's okay, because sometimes I don't either. Really? That has no place in this.
Yeah, I know. I just figured to lighten the mood. everyone's getting depressed over the garbage can Pokemon. So.
Rubbish.
It's a garbage. Hey.
Oh
man. So far though, with the I mean, you know, at least the new starters didn't look terrible. I mean, there definitely have been worse looking starters.
That's true.
They look like the starters from the last generation.
Like I said, there's been worse looking starters. As far as the evolution goes,
It's terrible.
it looks terrible and it's probably flying. Whoever designed that, please jump out of your building.
The guy who designed that
You know,
is one of the
they
people.
probably have the suicide net, so he won't die. Alright, that's really racist. I apologize. But I mean, flying already sucks. And it's like, okay, well, we're gonna make a new version of Eevee. What type? All right, what haven't we done yet? All right, let's give it flying. We haven't done that one. Here's a crazy concept. How about you give an Eevee evolution a dual type?
Or here's a crazy concept: dragon.
I want that to be a starter.
Yes.
Dragon Eevee would be amazing.
Why isn't there a dragon starter thing? I mean, dragons are all the thing
There
now.
should be.
Also, is there a zombie Pokemon?
I'm honestly, I don't think there is, and I'm honestly kind of surprised that there isn't.
I know there's like a mummy or a sarcophagus Pokemon.
Marowak is supposed to be dead.
Is that the sarcophagus?
No, Marowak is Marowak's supposed to be Cubone's mother, and except Marowak is supposed to be dead. She's not a ghost, but Marowak is supposed to be dead.
So is there an
but
undead type?
It's an animal with a skull for a head.
That's the most.
That basically Marowak would be the closest thing to a zombie.
But is there an undead type Pokemon?
No,
Why not?
I haven't done that yet.
That's
Everything
next
else is doing
generation.
zombies, so wait, there's a zombie Pokemon coming 6th gen. Maybe it'll be called.
There is actually a reason, though, for the lack of there being a dragon type in the starters. I don't remember when they said this, but they said the reason why
Because the little
there's
kids
no
would burn down
dragon
the
type in
whole
the
town.
starters because the dragon type is too powerful.
The little kids would burn down the whole town.
Which it is.
Okay, hold on. Dragon type is too powerful. This is interesting to me. Kyurem sucks.
Alright, yeah, let's start listing off all the dragon types.
You can't count the legendary dragon types.
Flygon's
No,
mediocre at best.
The pseudo-legendary dragon
Do
type.
not hate on Flygon. I love my Flygon.
Look, you know what? I like ground and everything since Earthquake's my favorite move, but I'm sorry, Flygon's mediocre at best. He's not that great.
Don't
Everyone knows the best Pokemon is Charizard, okay?
Which should be a dragon and isn't.
Charizard is a
hate.
dragon.
He also
Fire
sounds
type.
exactly like Rhyhorn.
Yes, he does. After all these years, you know what? It's six. They will still not fix that 6th gen. They're not going to change it. It's still going to be the same thing, and I'm going to laugh my ass off.
You know, that just hit me. Did we hear? Did you hear cries at all in the trailer?
I don't believe so. I'm sure they're there. I'm sure they're there. They have to.
I don't remember. I'm
I
looking
think
it up
there's
right
music
now.
playing, so you don't hear anything.
They have to.
Trailer. I'm very
Maybe since we have 3D battles, maybe we'll have 16-bit cries instead of 8-bit cries.
Oh yeah, they're gonna really upgrade to the future.
That's right.
16-bit
Absolutely.
sound.
To go with the 3D, it'd be amazing.
Stupid 3D parallax screen.
Yeah, so, I mean, I definitely think they definitely did a good job upgrading the graphics, though. I think.
But it's still parallaxed all the pieces.
What are you gonna do?
It's Nintendo and Pokemon. Little baby steps. Little baby steps.
Their next gen handheld will actually have non-aliased graphics.
You know, I'm getting a lot of random ideas this episode. Like, why? If we're gonna keep adding Pokemon, right? Like, why don't we just add new Pokemon through like DLC? Dare I even say this? Because I just made a whole rant saying DLC is evil and this.
You know what? Yeah, let's just turn Pokemon into in-app purchases. You want this brand new Pokemon? Pay me $1. And then
No.
every day.
I would pay for Mew.
But then you can skip out all the crappy ones. Like if you get like say a sock
Better yet,
as a
Victor.
Pokemon, you don't have to
Victor.
buy that if you don't want to.
You know what I would pay for?
You can make a custom Pokedex.
You know what I would pay for? I would pay for the ability to not have to have an HM mule.
Yes, that too.
You are the god of water. Why can't you swim without me teaching you? And
Man.
still, I want to know why a dragon Pokemon in Generation 5 with wings cannot fly, but Golurk, a ghost and dragon, can suck his legs into his ass and fly off like a rocket. If you don't believe me, Google Golurk flying. It's in a movie or the show. He sucks his legs into his ass and he flies off like a rocket. Go look at it. You know what? I'm actually gonna look it up right now so everybody can see this.
This is gonna make the perfect end to this episode because we're running pretty short on time here now.
All right, right here. All right, how do I switch? All right, so do screen share.
Oh boy, here we go.
That is Golurk flying. And see, this is what he looks like normally. So you see, he sucks his legs into his ass and he flies off like a rocket.
Good stuff.
Yet meanwhile, there are Pokemon that have wings, but can't learn fly, and Pokemon like Charizard, whose Pokedex info says he's a dragon. In the show, he goes and lives in a dragon temple, but no, he gets flying. I'm done now. Somebody else can talk.
Fire Dragon.
Pokemon Skylanders.
I watched the trailer because I'm curious to see if you did hear it cry.
I'm hearing Pikachu.
I think the Poke Talk is crashing the hangout.
Nice going, Nathan.
Okay, now I hear a cutscene. I hear something.
No, you don't hear any cries. You do hear the attacks, but you don't hear any cries.
Do the Pokemon actually move in this generation? I haven't seen a single Pokemon do anything more than shake in any Pokemon game I've seen.
No, the battle graphics in this one are actually very similar to Pokemon Stadium, where it's completely 3D.
And they still don't move.
But yeah, they are. Well, it's more than that. Like, for example, if your Pokemon uses Tackle, you do actually see your Pokemon run up to the other one and hit him, or like headbutt, or things like that. But they do not move. They do not move back and forth like they don't. You can't control their movement. You can't tell them to dodge or anything like that.
So they've at least upgraded to next-gen technology of having animated sprites.
Well, you've seen the trailer, right? I mean, they look amazing. I mean, they look like they're right out of the show. Everything's cell shaded. It looks really, really good.
For being on a parallax screen.
Yeah, I know. My one hope though is what I would like to see is like if an attack misses, I would like to see like the attack animation, and I'd like to see the Pokemon dodge the attack. We haven't seen that in the game in the 30 seconds of gameplay that we have, so we'll have to wait and see. But you know, the fact that there are no cries in that video actually makes me pretty hopeful, because that tells me that they're most likely not reusing the same cries, that they are doing brand new cries for all of them.
So they had to hire that one lady that does all of the Pokemon sounds and have her re-record all 700.
I hope that I would really love to see that. You know, if the next Pokemon game had the voices from, you know, had the names from the show, I would love it. And they don't even have to re-record it. They can just rip it from the audio of the show.
Because they all say the same thing.
Well, no, every single Pokemon has been in the show or one of the movies at some point.
What about the actual characters?
Huh?
What about the human characters?
I don't think there will be any dialogue for the any dialogue for the characters, any voice dialogue for any of the characters.
That's too complicated for Nintendo. Too much work.
No, it's not too much complicated. It's just they still use crappy low storage discs, cartridges that can't store the data.
And they don't want to do anything.
Yeah, that's it.
Remember, it's Pokemon. We have to take baby steps.
No, like I said, I don't think there will be any voiced dialogue. The only exception may be like the opening of the game with the professor, but I don't think there will be any voice dialogue, and I think it's fine without voice dialogue. However, the Pokemon really at this point really should be how they are in the show. The battle graphics look like they were taken right out of an episode of the show, so the Pokemon should sound like they do in the show. And again, they wouldn't even really have to re-record anything. They could rip it all just from the audio from the show episodes and from the movies, because every single Pokemon has been in either a show or one of the movies.
Psyduck!
The only exception would the one curious thing would be a few of the Pokemon that like Mewtwo, for example, who Mewtwo talked in the movie. He didn't make a sound.
Get Nolan North to do it.
It would be interesting to see how they would handle certain Pokemon like that and the other legendaries that actually talk to you. My only thought for those would be they would make some form of sound effect for when you meet them, and then they would talk to you through dialogue.
Or do the Animal Crossing style dialogue.
Oh God.
Gibberish.
But definitely, I mean, the fact that we haven't heard any cries yet, that does make me very confident that the cries are definitely being redone. Hopefully they will be the actual cries from the show. They'll be their actual names. If not, at least hopefully they redo them all from scratch. Because God knows the fact that we were still using the original red and blue cries for the original 151 was a little fucking ridiculous.
The
and
fact that
Pokemon will change little to nothing and still sell like crazy. Got it.
the
Yeah.
fact that having new cries for all of the 700 different animals is considered a major improvement.
I definitely consider, from what we've seen so far. Now, I will say, this Pokemon game, the 3D graphics, and this was due probably about, I don't know, 5 years ago, considering the frickin' regular DS was capable of it.
Yep.
But it's definitely overdue. But at the same time, it looks like they've done a really good job on it. I'm very excited for it. If it wasn't for this game, I probably would be getting rid of my 3DS altogether. And my only hope is that hackers hurry up and crack the 3DS so I can have action replay.
Yay, cheating.
They have action replay for 3DS.
No, they have action replay for the 3DS for DS games. There's currently no way to cheat on a 3DS game.
They have hacked the 3DS though, for homebrew and stuff.
There have been a few hacks. None of them have been super successful. They haven't been able to really do much with them, but there have been a few. But like I mentioned to Victor, once Pokemon was announced, all the hackers that were working on the DS instantly left and moved to the 3DS. So that's all you have to do. Announce Pokemon for your system and it's hacked the next day.
Alright, I think we're good to go here.
Get down. I couldn't help myself.
So I suppose until next time when we figure out whatever the hell we're going to talk about. Possibly sometime in March. I forget the date, but see if I go ahead and rent Gears Judgment. Maybe we can get some...
No.
I am going to end this broadcast right now. If I have to hear that again, I am going to go over there and break your phone.
I'm not going to play it again, I swear. I just had to do it. I had to do it. I had to.
There will be Gangnam Style through VGHC before there is ever anything of the Harlem Shake, which should burn in hell in all eternity.
So, next show, Tomb Raider. Tomb
sorry?
Raider comes out on the 5th.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
So we can talk about how
I definitely want to...
how good or
How
how
good.
bad that is.
Definitely. Definitely. That's the 5th? March 5th?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Right on my birthday.
How about that? Definitely going to have to get my hands on that as well. Looks like Black Ops can finally go back, as if I touched it anyway. And with the theme that goes with everything, good night, everybody.